Hello and welcome to this session about using LinkedIn for researchers. I'm Dr. Rosemary Bass, one of the careers advisors who work with PhD students and research staff at UEA. And I'm here with my colleagues.
Hello, I'm Dr. Rebecca Wind.
So today we are going to talk about lots of things to do with LinkedIn. We're going to talk about why it's relevant to you as a researcher and how to use it effectively. Also how employers use it in recruitment. We're going to talk about what makes a good profile and how to present your skills as a researcher. We're going to talk about growing your network and using LinkedIn for job hunting. We're going to do a brief introduction to LinkedIn Learning. While you're listening to this session, it might be useful to have LinkedIn open in another window. And if you want to access some online resources, there is a link there on the slide. So if to have an academic career, to be a successful researcher and academic, you need a good network because a lot of jobs and collaborative opportunities are found through the people you know rather than by advertised opportunities. Research jobs are increasingly advertised on social media, including Twitter. So there is a link on the slide to a session that we did previously about using Twitter to promote yourself as a researcher. But LinkedIn is another place where research jobs are being advertised. But if you're thinking about getting out of academia, changing your direction after your PhD or research contract, having a well-established network can make that a lot easier. And that's one of the things we're going to talk about today. So what is LinkedIn? So LinkedIn is the largest professional social network. It has over 770 million users in over 200 countries. So it is a good professional face that you can put on the internet so that prospective employers can find what you want them to see, basically. So you can put your CV online in your profile. You can write posts, you can put work examples, you can basically control what employers and professional contacts see. So it's much better for them to see your online CV than pictures of you on holiday 6 years ago on different social media. Something else that LinkedIn is really good for is it allows you to do research about what jobs people have and what companies are out there, and also to start interacting with those people and with employers. So you can look at people's profiles to maybe see how somebody got into what would be your dream job. It allows you to research what companies are up to and maybe join relevant groups in professional areas. Over 20 million jobs are posted on LinkedIn each year, and it's a good place to look for jobs, but also to find out about companies you haven't heard about and identify the kind of skills that will be needed to apply for a job role that you're interested in. So think about what people look for in a LinkedIn profile. So they're looking to see who you are and whether your cultural fit is appropriate for their organisation if they're thinking of employing you. So we're looking to see what your professional experience is and how long that has lasted. They might be looking at what specific skills you have that you could maybe offer to their organisation. And one way of demonstrating interest is by writing or liking or sharing industry-related posts. If you have publications or design work that you could post on LinkedIn, you could put links on there to allow people to see what you can do. Something else that's really important is mutual connection. So if people can see that you're connected to people that they know and respect, then that can be beneficial. There is a link on this slide to some further tips for making a good LinkedIn profile. When you think about what your LinkedIn profile needs to look like, first of all, you need to have a photograph that is appropriate to your career. So having a photograph is really key because you will get over 20 times more views if you have a photograph and significantly more contacts as well. People will get in touch with you more if you have a photograph. So it needs to be a clear facial shot that is appropriate to what you want to do. So often this is kind of wearing smart business attire, but if you are looking for a job in a lab, for example, it's perhaps not inappropriate to be wearing a lab coat. You need to have a headline that is the most important thing they want you to, that you want them to know about you. So it needs to be really informative. You can have a look at what other people's profiles look like and see if there's anything in how people have presented themselves that you admire and could emulate in your own profile. If you have a current employer, you could name them. If you don't, rather than saying unemployed after my PhD, you could put something like seeking opportunities as a researcher in this area. So something that indicates the direction that you're hoping to go in. Then you want to write a summary that is basically your elevator pitch. So it highlights your best achievements, and if you include keywords in that, you'll be found in searches by employers and recruiters who are looking for people for particular roles. While you're job hunting, it's a really good idea to update your status regularly to make sure that it's correct and up to date, but also to generate activity. So if you don't want to write or provide visual content for things that you have made, you can like and share articles just to generate some activity to your site. And there is a link here to some LinkedIn learning about how to rock your profile. If you're thinking about how to present a PhD on LinkedIn, the inherent value of academic study is not necessarily recognised outside of academia, but the skills that you have as a PhD researcher will be of value to different organisations. So you need to think about how best to present them. This Wordle shows some of the skills that PhDs have, all of which are under a great demand in different industries and different sectors. So you want to think about how you present those. And there's two, as well as providing details of what you've done, you can also put a skills list onto LinkedIn and get endorsements. So a good way to do this is to endorse people you know, and then they might endorse you back for similar things. You could also get recommendations. So this is a bit like a really short reference. Often you can ask somebody, would they please write you a recommendation, highlighting this particular skill or the experience of working with you on a particular project. And this carries more weight. With recommendations, you get the chance to check that what has been said is okay before it is publicly viewed on your LinkedIn site.
Okay, so now we're going to think about how to build your network. So you can view the full profiles of people in your network, and the more first degree connections that you have, it gives you access to a greater number of second and third degree connections. But you need to be a little bit discerning. So when you receive connection requests, really think about what value a connection with that individual will give you. Do they have a common point of interest with you in their past, for example? So don't accept everybody. Similarly, there is an etiquette with regard to connecting to new individuals through LinkedIn. So rather than just sending a generic connection request, it's good practice to put a short message in your request. So think about, how do you know that individual? Do you have a common area of interest? Perhaps you've met them at a conference, or you've heard them giving a talk that you admired, so you might want to reference that in your message. It may be that you studied or have worked at a similar institution in the past, but by actually highlighting that common point of connection, it's more likely that that individual will accept your request and then lead to further interaction. So do remember that etiquette. With a ordinary LinkedIn account, you have a good degree of functionality, but you are also able to upgrade to a premium account, but this comes at a monthly cost. It will give you more direct access to individuals' profiles, so you can see more information about individuals through LinkedIn, and also you can search for more people. But what we would recommend is that when you come to a point in your job searching where you want to be maximizing your use of LinkedIn, then you can sign up for a free premium account for 1 month in order to get that added functionality for that point of purpose. So our top tips for using LinkedIn. As Rosemary mentioned before, try to be as specific as you can in your content. So if you are looking for a certain type of job, you can tailor your LinkedIn profile just like you would tailor a CV that you were using to apply for a specific opportunity. But you may, if you're looking for roles that might cover different employment sectors. So for example, if you're looking perhaps for research opportunities both within academia and also industry, and you don't want to sort of necessarily specify that, you could identify sort of the common point of interest. So looking for an opportunity in project management, or looking for an opportunity in business development, for example. Try to be honest in your profile and realistic, so your content has to definitely reflect what you can bring and what you can offer a new employer. So don't make claims that you cannot substantiate. You need to provide concrete evidence of what you can do. So highlighting those achievements, adding that depth to your profile through rich content, for example, linking to publications or presentations that you may have given, actually really gives the employer some specific evidence of your achievements. As Rosemary mentioned, getting those recommendations can be really important because they act like sort of mini references and can really help an employer who's viewing your profile get a greater understanding of the value that you could bring to their organisation. Make sure that you're consistent with what you say on your LinkedIn profile with any other forms of social media that you use, whether that's Facebook, Twitter, or another platform. One of the greatest tools for LinkedIn is of value to those of you that are perhaps exploring your career options, and that's using the alumni search. So you can do this for your current institution. So here we've got the homepage of the University of East Anglia, or any former institution at which you have previously worked or studied. By clicking on the homepage for the institution, you have then access to the alumni tab, which we've highlighted here with the red arrow. So at UEA, we have almost 85,000 alumni currently with profiles on LinkedIn. And then you can search those individuals either by the year that they studied or by keywords. So if you're looking for an alumni who's working in a particular company or a particular type of job role, you can use those keywords here. You can also use the filter functions to look at perhaps what geographic area they are living in, or which companies that they're working, or indeed the subject that they studied at that institution. So there are a variety of filters that you can work your way through there. Bear in mind that if you're looking for PhD alumni, if you put in PhD as one of your keywords, it will also bring up current PhD students. So you have to be a little bit sort of strategic with some of the keywords that you use for your filtering. But it can be a great way of identifying alumni who can perhaps share their experience of transitioning into new career paths, or who work at particular organisations that you're interested in applying to, so they can give you that insider insight that you wouldn't get just by looking at that company website or by reviewing a job application information. So we definitely recommend getting to grips with the alumni search. Other key functionalities on LinkedIn include the job search. So here again, you can search by a particular skill set required within a job role. You can look at certain job titles, or indeed you can search by company names. Be aware that most companies who are advertising on LinkedIn will also be advertising on other platforms. So everything that they have already posted on their own company website will also be revealed on LinkedIn searches as well. But it can be good for finding both academic and non-academic jobs. Also be aware that some companies pay additional premiums to LinkedIn to have their vacancies promoted. So these opportunities will be revealed at the top of your search list. The more searches you do, you will also find that LinkedIn will start to send you regular email updates of similar opportunities based on the keywords you may have used in your previous searches. And sometimes they will also use the keywords in your individual profile to send you sort of recommended jobs based on sort of your previous work experience. And a really important thing for you to consider is how much information you would like people to see on your publicly available profile. So you can do this by going into your account settings and altering your privacy basic information. So you can only make your profile publicly available when you're actually happy with the content with it. You can decide what degree of information people can view. So it may be that only your primary connections, your first degree connections can see your full profile, and then secondary connections may see only a limited amount of information. So it really depends on the purpose of which you're using it and how much you would like to share your information with others. So something else that we would recommend using with regard to LinkedIn is a new functionality that they've introduced, which can support your skill development, and that's LinkedIn Learning. So there are thousands of courses available to you. They've congregated these into different learning pathways, so you can select ones according to certain sort of subject areas, that they allow you to build knowledge and skills, perhaps in new areas that you haven't previously encountered through your PhD or your research. So all UEA students and staff have access to LinkedIn Learning, but also if you're a recent PhD graduate, you can access this for a limited time by clicking on the link here. So now what? Depending on how much experience you have of using LinkedIn so far, you might want to consider some of the things that we've listed here. If you want some personal feedback on your LinkedIn profile and how effective it is for the purpose that you're using it for, then you can get some feedback from a careers advisor by contacting Careers Central for a short appointment, or that can also be done via email. But think about some of the functionality that we've mentioned that you might want to explore. So whether that's the alumni search or the job search, or thinking, can you enhance your profile, perhaps adding some of that extra sort of rich media or content that's going to really make you stand out. So think about what's next for you to really get the most value from LinkedIn.